A new video? That's fantastic.
Samsung's absolute premium smartphone. My question is, are Samsung just cruising with this phone? Could they have made it better than it is? Or are they holding things back for the future? Probably. There are things I think they could have made so much better in this phone. For example, there is better battery technology, longer lasting batteries, faster battery charging, so you spend less time charging your phone. It could have been lighter weight, and it could be a bit more comfortable to hold. It is a premium phone, but the edges are quite sharp and quite pronounced. And without a case, you do feel those edges. As usual with Samsung phones, they have the distinct back, the cameras, so you can tell at once that you've got a Samsung phone. Let's have a quick look at the specifications for the device. It has a 6.9-inch display that operates at between 1 and 120 Hz refresh rate. It weighs 218 grams, and it has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy inside. The model has 12 gigabytes of RAM, random access memory, and 512 gigabytes of storage in mine, the one I have here. You can get options up to 1 terabyte of storage. On the rear camera display is a quad camera setup, and there is also the 12 megapixel front selfie camera. It has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, which is a reasonable size, but a little bit disappointing when other manufacturers are getting 6,000 and higher milliamp hour batteries inside their devices. It runs Android 15 with Samsung's One UI 7 on top of that. This particular storage version of 512 gigabytes cost $2,199, let's call that $2,200 here in Australia. So yeah, we're talking about a flagship phone. There is no doubt that this is a good-looking phone with premium glass and metal hardware. Titanium jet black is the color option I have here, and there are other color options available. They all tend to be a little bit boring in my opinion. You have silver blue, black, gray, white silver, jet black, jade green, and pink gold. All of those have the word titanium in front of them. Usual Galaxy camera layout is distinctive. As I mentioned, you can tell it's a Galaxy phone at once just by looking at the camera layout on the back. If we compare this to other phones, we can see that they have their own distinctive layout. We have the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. We have the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. Alongside that, we have the OnePlus 13. They all have very distinctive camera housings that is about the only feature that tends to stand out in slab phones these days. When you look at the front of the phone or even the sides, they can be very similar indeed. There is no doubting this is a large device with a large screen, which is something I actually really like in my phones. Not everyone wants a large screen, but I particularly like them. On the right-hand side, we have a power button and volume controls. On the bottom is USB-C, a SIM tray, microphone and speaker, and of course the housing for the Samsung Galaxy S25 pen, the S Pen. This is a distinctive feature of this particular model of the S25 series. It's the only Samsung phone that has this pen inside it. I don't know how long they're going to keep putting an S Pen in this phone. They have this year removed the Bluetooth settings from the pen. You used to previously be able to use the pen to operate the camera hardware and take photographs. These days you can't do that anymore. I have to be honest, I hardly ever use the S Pen. It's just something I don't use. So if they did remove it from the phone, it wouldn't particularly bother me. So turning to the display on the Galaxy S25 Ultra, it is one of the best displays on any smartphone. It has a very useful anti-reflective coating, which others should copy. It doesn't stop all reflections, but it certainly reduces them. And in my experience, it makes the phone very visible, even in bright sunlight. It is a 6.9-inch AMOLED panel. It features 1 to 120 Hz refresh rates, a peak brightness of 2600 nits, and it supports QHD resolution, which can be changed in settings So if we go into the display settings here, you can see that we can change the actual screen mode, so we can make it vivid or natural. I quite like the vivid because it makes colors pop. We can set the resolution, as I mentioned. It tends to come out of the box set to FHD, but I would suggest you put it on QHD+, as that is one of the reasons you bought this phone, hopefully, for that very bright display. I can't think of any phone that has a better display than the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. Here we are outdoors on a beautiful sunny day in Western Australia, and I'm testing to see how readable this screen is, even in bright sunlight. So this is the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. It's got that anti-reflective coating that definitely helps, and there's no problem seeing this, even when I'm directly in the sunlight, bright sunlight, very readable screen. No problems at all. Good job, Samsung. Good job. The performance, again, the Samsung has the top-of-the-range Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy. For Galaxy, what does that mean? Apparently, the CPU has been slightly upgraded to run at a higher clock speed. It's only 3 or 4% higher, but it does make it faster than any other phone. If we look at how that affects the performance, Samsung quote that it is a 40% increase in NPU performance over last year's top-of-the-range S24 Ultra. It's a 37% increase in the CPU performance and a 30% increase in GPU performance. So it operates well. It supports fast LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 4.0 storage. So this is one of the fastest, if not the fastest, smartphone currently available. In my experience, comparing it to other smartphones that I've used, such as the OnePlus 13, Pixel 9 Pro, two phones I've been using on a day-to-day basis recently, I can't say I notice a difference in the speed of these phones. They are all fast phones. I guess that the Snapdragon 8 Elite, being the latest CPU compared to the Tensor chip inside Pixel 9 Pro, will probably last longer. So as software improves and more features are added to phones, this one's going to have a better life than maybe the Tensor chip inside the Pixel 9 Pro. If we turn to the cameras, if we look on the back of the phone, down the left-hand side, we have 3 cameras. At the top, we have a 50 megapixel ultra-wide f1.9 120-degree field of view camera. In the middle, we have the main camera, which is a 200 megapixel wide angle with an f1.7 aperture. And at the bottom is the 50 megapixel periscope telephoto, 5 times optical zoom, and an aperture of f2.4. With the Samsung phone, you can get up to 100 times zoom, digital zoom. I have to say that using it is rather difficult unless your camera is actually, your phone is actually on a mount, because it moves so much, everything flickers a bit when you're trying to use it. On the right, from top to bottom, we have a laser autofocus sensor, and in the middle we have the flash, and at the bottom is another camera. This one's a 10 megapixel telephoto with a 3 times optical zoom, and again with an aperture of f2.4. If we then turn over to the front of the phone, we have the pinhole selfie camera at the very top. This is a 12 megapixel camera with a f2.2 aperture. One of the good things about the Samsung phones is the software they put on it. Their One UI, and particularly the software for the cameras. It's effective and useful software that helps to get the best pictures possible. Special features like Add Me I have never used, but Magic Eraser I use quite often. As usual with the Samsung phone, I've been impressed with the camera's ease of use and the great photos produced. This is a very good camera. If we now turn and look to the battery and the charging of the phone, I think the best way to sum it up is battery life is okay. Problem is, I have been spoiled recently while using the OnePlus 13. This has a 6,000 milliamp hour battery inside it, and it supports 100 watt wired charging. On the S25, you get 45 watts charging, and that will charge the phone from empty to full in around about 60 minutes, which is not too bad. However, the OnePlus 13 will charge to full in 35 minutes, almost half the time. With either phone, obviously you have to use the right cable to get that top charging speed. So Samsung provide a cable in the box that is a 5-amp one, and it's a rated USB-C cable, and you need to use that one if you want to get the full speed charging, providing you have a charger, because they no longer provide a charger in the box. Battery life and charging is okay. However, other brands are using better technology now. Silicon Carbide gives better energy density and faster charging, and I wish Samsung would move in this direction. If we turn to the software and features, this is one of the best elements of this phone. There is a bit of bloatware, unfortunately, but there are some very good exclusive features for the Samsung phones. They have quite a bit of Galaxy AI software on the phone, with various things like call assist, writing assist, an interpreter live translation. If you use Samsung Notes, it can auto format the notes and summarize and check the details, so it's quite a nice feature to have. Personally, I don't use Samsung Notes because there's no app for my laptop, and I like to be able to swap notes between the laptop and my mobile phone. It has transcript assist, which helps to transcribe voice and call recordings into text. Browsing assist, again, if you use Samsung's own browser on the phone. Again, I don't. I tend to use Google's browser. It has photo assist, and this is very useful. This is able to remove objects from photographs. It can create portraits in a variety of styles. You've got filters you can add on and do things like that. The phone also has drawing assist. This can help to transform a simple sketch into a cartoon or a painting or a drawing that you want. Audio eraser. This is if you're recording videos on the phone and there's background noise, it can remove that background noise for you, and it is very effective. They have photo ambient wallpapers, so AI can change your wallpaper based on the time of day, things like that. One thing they do put on the phone is a piece of software called Now Brief. And the idea behind this is it should give you a little brief on what's happening at certain times in the day. So it'll give you the weather forecast and things like that. I can't say I use it very much. I've just noticed I've got an update. So Now Brief brings out a bit of information, but when I've used it, I've found there's nothing I can't find just by using the weather app on the front of the phone. There's no other information really that makes it any more useful to me than that. Well, mileage may differ, of course. The Galaxy S10 I've just mentioned, I don't use it, but people who do obviously like it. Samsung also has DeX. This is where you can plug your phone into a monitor and you get a desktop-like experience. I can't say I've ever used it, but people who do use it swear by it. Apparently it's very good. And we do know that Google is now working on something similar for Android so that every phone will have a similar feature. If we turn to pros and cons on this phone, what I like is the gorgeous display with anti-reflective layer, the classic Galaxy camera quality, clean, fast software that's very customizable. They give 7 years of updates. And some of the AI features provided by Samsung are very useful. They're genuinely useful features. Not so good, I find it expensive here in Australia at $2,200, especially when you can buy a phone like the OnePlus 13, which has very similar specification, including the same CPU inside, same memory, same storage, a bigger battery, faster charging, for only $1,450 here in Australia, a considerable saving. Battery life is not as good as some brands, as I've said, the OnePlus 13, for example. And even with the rounded corners, I still find the phone a little bit uncomfortable to hold in my hand. I know everyone's going over to these sort of sharp edges on the phones, the flat display and everything, copying Apple to a degree, but I find that a little bit uncomfortable. Once you've got a case on it, it's not such an issue, but without a case, it's a little bit on the uncomfortable side. And maybe I'm just being a bit feeble. Pricing and value. Here in Australia, as I've already mentioned, it's expensive. It's 2,200 Australian dollars for the 512 gigabyte version that I have here. So it's an expensive Android phone. What we get is best-in-class cameras, a great display, solid software and features, and as I've mentioned, that long-term support up to 7 years. Similar pricing to the Google 9 Pro XL and to the iPhone 16 Pro Max. It's when you compare it to phones like that OnePlus 13 that you see the difference. I've done a review of the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL recently, as well as the OnePlus 13. So if you'd like to take a look at that, please do. Finally, sat outside with the Samsung S25 Ultra. And the question I'm asking myself is this the best that Samsung could have done? This is their flagship phone after all. Unfortunately, I feel that Samsung have been cruising a bit. Yes, it's got a lot of cutting-edge technology in it, but it does miss out on one or two things that they could have put in that other manufacturers are starting to do. Things like silicon carbide batteries for longer battery life, and then supporting faster charging, like the 100-watt charging you get on the OnePlus 13. So overall, I think the phone is an extremely good phone, but for the price, I'm left feeling a little bit disappointed in Samsung. I'd like them to up their game, hopefully next year. Forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate you watching my little YouTube videos on smartphones that I've bought and used myself. All of the smartphones I use, I pay for with my own money. I do not get them sent by the manufacturer. As you can probably tell from my videos, they're not the most professional at the moment, but I'm hoping to get better. Your support is appreciated. Thank you very much.